Welcome to Happy Maths Hour with Toni and Caroline. And today we're going to play with eggs. We're going to make Tangram eggs because the theme is Easter. But we're not only going to talk about Easter because eggs happen in all different cultures, of course, because they come from animals. And so after the break, we're going to learn, do some maths with eggs, but we're also going to learn about eggs in different cultures. See you after the break. Welcome to Happy Math Hour with Toni and Caroline, and today's all about eggs. So we are commemorating the fact that it's Easter Monday in some parts of the world. We're conscious of the fact that not everyone watching celebrates Easter, so it's not just it's about eggs. It's about eggs in different cultures, and it's about the mathematics of a Tangram egg. So we'll do some puzzles. So get ready to enjoy. And I'm going to pass over to Toni, who's going to start her spreadsheet. Starting with the spreadsheet.
Yes, I'll share my screen now with everybody.
Okay.
And we are going to talk about the magic egg and the wonderful things we can do with the magic egg. It doesn't seem to be working, so... That is, share your screen, it says, and nothing happens. I'll cancel that, and I will try again. Share screen, share screen, share. Oh, do you know, in the past, I don't know, we need some further work on their site by the relaxed people, because I've had to leave the studio and come back to get it to work in the past. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, but I'm definitely not. But they did give me some help, and there was one broadcast that I couldn't do, and I'm not doing it. Oh, so Toni's had to leave, so she can come back, and let's see if we can hopefully, very, very hopefully. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making an egg tangram. Now with this egg, because I got the green background, it's because she's coming back. We're going to be making egg tangrams. I'm going to show you how to actually make this for yourself, or you can print it out and as I have done, and cut it out. And there's instructions on how to do it there. And then this is the sort of thing. Oh, I've got to let Toni back in. Okay, how are we doing? Do you think you can manage it? I'm just using my printouts to talk about it.
You do that, Caroline, because
I am.
The technology is not okay. Let's click that. Your entire screen or application window. Right, share.
Didn't print out the PowerPoint. No, I only printed out the actual resource because I needed it for the egg. So I've actually prepared an egg for us to play with at some point.
Oh, hallelujah, Caroline!
Oh, hooray!
It's worked.
Add this in. So yes, get ready to play with eggs. Over to Toni.
Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry, everybody. We'll get better at it. It's yes, it's tricky. Okay, so it's Easter Monday, so it's time to talk about eggs. Okay, so here we are. Happy Maths Hour, Easter eggs and chicks. So here you see the egg. It's orange and yellow and red and green and blue. And you can, and of course, birds hatch out of eggs, don't they? And so we'll show you how to be very creative with the 9 pieces of this puzzle and make many different birds. It can keep you amused for hours, I think, if you like puzzles. So here's how you do it, okay? So now you can see here the 9 pieces of the puzzle, and you can see how the standing bird, his body is made of the orange and yellow pieces, and his wings and tail are made out of the blue pieces, and his head and feet are the larger green pieces, and his crest and the little piece under his tail are the smaller green pieces. And you can see with the pecking bird on the right how the different shaped pieces make up his body. Now that's easy. So you can download the, if you go to the Aiming High website and you download, if you go to Magic Egg Tangram, just search for Magic Egg Tangram. You can download the worksheet and you can cut out those pieces of the egg.
Or you can click on the link in the description, Toni, because it's in the link in the description.
So that'll take you there much more quickly. Okay, so Caroline will later show you what to do with the pieces and how to make the egg, but we'll go on and explore it a little bit further. So here are 4 birds that you can make. Now, this isn't so easy because there aren't any white lines in there showing how showing the edges between the different pieces. But these birds hatch out of magic eggs using all 9 pieces. And you can create some of your own birds. You can be really adventurous. No end to the number of different birds you can make from these pieces. Okay. Now, you can use cardboard, and you can perhaps laminate it before cutting out the pieces, and then it'll last. Or alternatively, you can use scrap plastic or wood. Of course, if you use wood, that requires some really skilled craft work, and then to finish it off, some careful sanding and perhaps paint the wood. But it's quite a nice task there to make your own Tangram puzzle some way or other. And why do this activity? Well, it can be just for fun, puzzle for younger learners, helping them to develop their visualization skills. But it also provides a purpose for doing an accurate construction carefully. And we'll show you how to do that a little bit later. And it gives learners practice in measuring and using compasses. Now, learners can be asked to work out lengths and angles in the diagram, which will help them to develop their knowledge and their understanding of geometry, so that they can use and apply the geometry later on. But they don't have to do that, and it can be, I'll repeat that, it can be just for fun. Why not? After all, it's
fun. I've been playing with this egg this morning. It's not the first time I've done this activity. I've done it for Facebook Lives as well. It's great fun. I love doing it. I love making the egg. It's so empowering, Toni. You make this egg and you're like, wow, I did this. I made this myself. I love the other Tangram as well when we do that again. I love it, making it myself.
After all, it is Easter Monday, isn't it? So, well, let's do something with eggs. Did you do a treasure hunt yesterday, Caroline? For eggs?
No, but that's actually happening with. Do you know what? I didn't find out about what my nieces and nephews do. I've been watching my friends on Facebook go. One little chappie who's just about 9 months old. His mum's been really amazing with getting him to be to grow and learn and explore, she made these giant eggs with a hole just big enough for his arm to go inside, and with instead of eggs they were little squishy balls, so he could grab them because he's only little and still get them out, and then he could squish the balls and experience the different types of balls, and then find another egg somewhere in the garden, and he can't walk to it, but he can notice it and just have the experience. And
My goodness.
and that Annabelle and Leo are going to do theirs on Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday.
Well, that sounds like very advanced for a 9-month-old, but actually perhaps better
all he had
for
to
him
do
than
was
chocolate.
put in and grab. Oh yes, no, definitely. I know he's not eating any chocolate yet. He's not having any sweeties yet. No, all he had to do was put his hand in, and then he got to sit there and just experience the different textures of the different balls. I mean, and then he realized, wait a minute, there might be another ball in that one. It's like, what's going on there? And it's just exploring the world. It's lovely.
Well, my son, who's my child's son, no, he's 55 years old, and he got a present yesterday from the 2 little children aged 2 and 4 who live next door, who were very sorry for him. So they bought him some daffodils they'd picked for him. And they said they wanted him to have the daffodils because his mummy and daddy lived too far away to arrange a Easter egg hunt for him.
I think that's such a lovely story. On normal years, I would make a point of being with my little people at this time of year, because what I love to do is the treasure hunts. The format we've done is we first hide all the eggs so they can go bonkers just finding eggs. And then they decide they want to hide them, so that we spend hours them hiding them and finding them again, hide them from each other. And then I do my coup de grace, whatever. I put out clues, and there's a special egg at the end of it. And each person, of course, has their own clues and their own special egg, and they're age appropriate, just like our learning activities are age appropriate. Each one is age appropriate, and they have to follow the clues, and then so they have to do some problem solving and things, and at the end of it, they get their big egg for the day. Like, well, once I think maybe a bit more expensive than my eggs. Isn't it amazing? Did you say it was an ostrich egg?
Yes, but I think we're going to talk about the history of decorating eggs, which goes back 60,000 years. According to the archaeologists. So shall we have our first break and then come back to the history, Caroline?
Yes, I was so enchanted. I completely forgot about the breaks. Okay, we're good in time. Thank you. Right, we'll see you after the break with the history of the eggs and different ways of decorating them. Welcome back to Happy Maths Hour with Toni Beardon and Caroline Ainslie, and we're talking about the history of eggs. We're going to be doing an egg tangram puzzle in a little bit, but right now it's all about not where did eggs come from. Well, actually, we could ask that, couldn't we? Which came first, the chicken or the egg? But, we're just talking about eggs here.
Yes, well, of course, I'm sure long ago, when people started to decorate the eggshells, they put a little tiny pinprick in the egg and blew the contents out so that it didn't get old and smelly and it would be preserved. And of course, the eggshell itself is smooth and it's a beautiful shape and it's a lovely surface for decorating. And so records have been kept for going back 60,000 years to the ancient Egyptians. And of course, I don't suppose they had ostriches in Egypt at the time. But of course, there were trading routes through Africa, up and down the east coast of Africa, and the ostrich comes from Africa. So I can imagine that something rather special, this huge ostrich egg, got brought up to Egypt at some time or other. And there's an example of a very, very old egg from Mesopotamia, where, interestingly, they were associated with death and rebirth. So you can see how they came to be used much later for Easter, where we celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And also in Mesopotamia, they were associated with kingship, which is again a link to the beliefs in Christianity. Now, the customs and the crafts, as I said, were spread by merchants traveling along the trade routes. So possibly it was almost a worldwide custom, certainly taken around the world. Now, these decorated ostrich eggs and representation of ostrich eggs in gold and silver were commonly placed in graves of ancient Sumerians and Egyptians as early as 5,000 years ago, and maybe longer. So I think that's fascinating, isn't it? Now, yes. In Jewish tradition, a white egg is part of the Passover Seder plate. And maybe we've got some Jewish friends watching, and they will know all about it. And perhaps somebody will give us some information in the chat line. But these traditions may have influenced early Christian and Islamic cultures. They almost certainly did. The Christian custom of Easter eggs started among the early Christians in Mesopotamia. They used the egg that was significant in Judaism, which was white, but they stained it with red colouring in memory of the blood of Christ shed at the crucifixion. And there you see a red-coloured Easter egg with a Christian cross from the Greek Orthodox monastery at St. Cosmos Stylos. And so now you see a basket of very colourful eggs here. And the Christian church officially adopted eggs as a symbol of the resurrection of Jesus. The custom of regarding eggs as a symbol of the resurrection of Jesus in the rites of the Catholic Church is described in the book, which is entitled The Roman Ritual. It means, Roman practices in their worship and their services. And it was published in 1610, but it was certainly based on texts of a much older date than that. And at Easter, there were blessings of food, because, of course, Easter comes at the end of the Lenten season of fasting and abstinence. And so at Easter, they were blessings for eggs, along with other produce and lamb, of course, and bread also held great significance. So eggs and lamb and bread were considered to be the symbols of the resurrection. And now, wow, look at these. Aren't they just amazing? Caroline, you were waxing lyrical about Fabergé eggs this morning.
They've always fascinated me on several different levels. One was the amazing artistry that goes into making them. I hadn't realized that the person that was responsible for making the eggs actually learned from a Russian goldsmith on the techniques of making forms, making sculptures out of gold. And he came up with this amazing idea of making these eggs. And these eggs are some of the most expensive things in the whole world. A Fabergé egg, one of the original ones, are absolutely ridiculous money. But I just say every single one's different. He made one of the Moscow of the Kremlin with an egg as the dome. They're just amazing. I haven't actually seen any in person, and that's perhaps one of the things I have on my bucket list, that I'd actually like to see a Fabergé egg for real in person.
I'm sure there must be some somewhere in one of the museums in London, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, probably the British Museum probably has one, so I should actually make that my mission to go there and have a look.
But there are very interesting. We did a little bit of searching around for more information this morning, and they're a little bit, they're very much rather a rise from the French and the Russian cultures. And of course, throughout quite a few centuries, the courts in Russia and in France were very, very closely linked, with people going between the two and taking with them the things that were important in the French culture and in the Russian culture. So it was backwards and forwards. And the Fabergé family can be traced back to the 17th century, France, perhaps further back than that. They changed their name several times. There were several versions of Favé with a V in it, as well as Fabergé. And they were jewelers in Paris. But when he was young, very young, Gustave Fabergé went to St. Petersburg as an apprentice to jewelers in St. Petersburg.
The goldsmith, yeah.
Yes, and he sort of merged the skills that he brought from France and the skills he learned in Russia, and this was in about the 1860s, 1870s, and of course, these were extremely popular, and with the aristocracy in Russia, the Tsars and the other rich people who bought them as Easter gifts for their wives and mothers, and no doubt their daughters too. So if you were very lucky, you would have been given one of these on Easter Sunday in, well, maybe 1890 or something, some such time. And there are quite a limited number of them around, so they're not just valuable because of their fabulous design and the precious gold and jewels in them, but also because I don't know whether they had any reproductions of the same one, but I think they were unique.
They were unique. My understanding is that each and every one, you can see it in that picture, depicts it very nicely, that they were all unique.
Lovely, aren't they? And I imagine that possibly some of them were made to open and then you could put something else inside.
I think if not all of them, there could have well been Easter eggs inside all of them, as in some surprise in all of them. I don't know. I definitely would love to. I should really find out more.
Do you think they had chocolate and sweetmeats in them when they were given to the lucky ladies?
I'm not sure. More likely jewellery.
Oh, I don't know. I wonder when I don't know actually when the origin, how far back the origin of chocolate Easter eggs goes, actually. Yes, certainly decorating Easter eggs. And I mean, and nowadays, children, they get sick on Easter Sunday with unless their parents are quite strict about not eating all the Easter eggs at once.
It was Easter that made my friend decide to make a non-dairy, non-low sugar alternative to chocolate, because his daughter got so sick because and he didn't want to deprive them of the chocolate, so he decided to find an alternative. So it's innovation comes out of problems and challenges.
And it's quite interesting about this Fabergé company, because of course after the the Russian Revolution, and it was the early 1920s that the Fabergé company moved lock, stock, and barrel from St. Petersburg, leaving communist Russia there and set up in Paris. And they were, of course, very successful in Paris, but became more French than Russian then. Yeah. So that was, I thought, very interesting. And then after the break, we're going to do some more, but we'll talk about this slide for a little while because, my goodness, there are, I don't know, I didn't count them. There are a lot of birds there. So there's a big challenge. You can make your own, rather precisely marked out, and we'll show you how to do that. You can make your own puzzle.
You see the egg at the bottom there, the egg with what look like triangles. Some are triangles. That's what we're going to help you make that, or you can download the resource, which is on the link that's flashing past. And that's the little egg there. If you cut that up, you can make all those different shapes and maybe more.
There's a picture of one that you can cut out, and if you've got the luxury of a printer and a piece of card, you're all set to make this.
Well, I'm going to make mine with my compass.
We'll show everybody. You're going to show people how to do that, aren't you, Caroline?
Yeah.
And yes, and there's all sorts of birds. Some of them have got quite long necks. Some of them have got little tiny beaks, and others have got great big beaks. Some of them seem to be preening themselves. Some of them have their wings up. One or two of them have their wings up. I mean, they're many, many different birds. And so something about these rounded shapes that have got pointy bits that lend themselves to making bird silhouettes. I mean, I'm pretty sure there aren't real birds that look like that, but it's curious, isn't it?
Well,
they all look like birds.
Similar, but some of them do look quite similar to real birds.
I'm sure they, yes, if you knew about enough, if you went through a bird book and you looked at all those little black silhouettes there, you'd probably find that there were, in fact, birds of most of those sort of shapes and with most of those outlines. And of course, I'm sure people can create their own that they don't actually see there. So, you can have fun with this puzzle. Yes, I think it's about time for another jingle, and we'll come back.
Brilliant. Well, welcome back to Happy Maths Hour with Toni and Caroline, and we've talked about the Tangram egg. We've talked about eggs in different cultures all over the world, about decorating them and making them in all different shapes and sizes. And now we're going to actually make a Tangram egg. I'm hoping my screen is not frozen. Does my screen look frozen to you, Toni?
I can't see your screen, Caroline. I haven't got a monitor. Now, okay, Caroline, let's just tell everybody a little bit about this.
Yes, go for it.
If you look at the diagram, you'll see it looks more complicated than it really is, because all of the edge of the egg is just made of arcs of circles. That's why Caroline has got her compasses ready. And there are 8 steps to drawing the egg. And we have chosen a scale which we'll give you here, which means the radius of the biggest circle you can see is 60 millimeters or 6 centimeters, so that it's nice and large, will certainly fit on an A4 page and print on an A4 page, and you will be able to do this. Sometimes you make a start and get a bit muddled and have to make a fresh start, but I'm sure you can do this if you've got some compasses in the house. Now,
and let me see. Yes, this is me earlier on. I've got a couple of bits of paper that haven't. I don't know if you can see it or not. Anyway, it's yes for sure. Use scrap paper because you might use more than one.
Well, then what you see is there's a semicircle or half a circle at the bottom with diameter AB, and we'll go through this again because Caroline's going to demonstrate it. But everybody, I'm sure, can see there's a semicircle at the lower part with a circle sitting on it. We'll come back to why that smaller circle is sitting there in a minute. And then there's what you have there is some lines. They're quite important because those dark lines are where you're going to cut out the pieces. And there's one line across from A to B, and there's another line that goes up from J, vertically up or perpendicular to AB through what's marked as H, which is where the top of the circle cuts it, and it goes on a bit higher, and you'll find out how far by doing the construction. So the bottom rounded edge of the egg is a semicircle, and then the next lines you draw are from A through H and going on a bit further, and from B through H and going on a bit further. You don't know where C and D are yet, but you'll soon find out. And then the next thing to do is to put your compasses at A and draw an arc that is the length of the diameter AB and just goes up to cut the line AH. And there you'll see there's a sector ABD, and that's going to be important. So BD is is going up the side of the egg, providing you with that rounded shape there. And AC is constructed in exactly the same way by drawing a circle, a part of a circle that's centered at B and has radius, again the diameter of the big circle. Now you're almost done. You can see that all that remains to be done is to get this flattened top of your egg and the 2 little green pieces at the top. And to do that, what you do is you put your compass on H and draw a circle through C and D, and so those 2 sectors, the green sectors at the top, are going to be pieces of your egg, and they're often used for the beak of the bird, and they so circles we're talking about, the sectors we're talking about, have edges at HD on one side and HC on the other. So, Caroline, do you want me to go through this? Do you want me to show the instructions as we do it? Or do you want me to stop sharing so you have the whole screen?
Yeah, otherwise I won't be able to see what I'm doing. I'm hoping that my screen is going to do what it needs to do. And then if you can talk me through it, so you can lead the you can give the instructions and I'll follow your instructions, and they're verbal instructions. And then, oh my goodness, look, my ruler has disappeared. I've got to remember to turn off my green screen.
Okay, Caroline. Okay, Caroline. Over to you. What I'm going to do is to so what we would like to advise everybody else is that we're not going to go slowly enough for you to do it as Caroline does it, because we haven't got a very long time, and it will be a bit boring for those people who are not trying to do it. So I think the thing is, have a go now with Caroline, but if you get left behind, then you can always replay the recording and have a go. And so Caroline, and the instructions, by the way, the link is on the chat line and the instructions are all there. So Caroline, are you going to draw your circle to start with, which has
yes,
radius 6 centimeters?
Radius 6 centimeters. Here we go. You can see it, hopefully. I'm just going to raise this up. Gosh, everything moved on me. There we go. Raise it up a little bit. I might have to move it again. Right, here we go. Radius 6 centimeters. Now, what I found is you have to be very clear where that center is. That really helps you. And also use pencil throughout. And I'm going to demonstrate at the end why that's so important. Now, I want to be very clear about where that center is. I'm actually going to mark it. Go ahead.
Now, what you want to do is to put the diameter AB in, and now it wants to be so that people can actually see it, Caroline, because you can see it, but it's
well, I can put that diameter in clearly, but there's a reason why I have to use the pencil.
Yes, oh, very much
there we
so.
Go. Yeah.
Now,
Okay,
can you go? Right. Now, can you go over draw over the edge, the half circle that forms the edge, so that people can see
the one
it?
underneath. I'll
yes.
do this one here.
Yes.
Okay,
As carefully as you can.
I'm doing that freehand. Now, if you can use a piece of string, by the way, you can attach. You can put even the compass or a pencil in the middle and use a piece of string to draw it really nicely. I'm just using freehand.
But Caroline, you can also use as well as, well, a piece of string is probably the best thing, but you can also use a compass, a paper clip as a compass. Did you know that?
Yes. The same principle. You use the pencil and you put an open paper clip on, and then use that. But you're limited on the legs. So you might still have to attach a piece of string to the paper clip to get the correct length.
Now, Caroline, would you like to draw the vertical line up now?
So here's how I did it. I got my set square. You can also use
it needs to go from the bottom, Caroline, right from the bottom.
But I don't know where the 90 degrees is unless I use my set square.
Oh, absolutely. So go up and
so
go down.
that's why I used my protractor. I'm going to go up there. I'll make it a heavier line, but I'm using a pencil for a very good. Can you see? Oh, you can see that. I just need to use a heavier line, and then I'm going to go down.
Now you've got to go up higher than the circle, Caroline, and quite a lot higher. And it doesn't matter how much higher, because you're going to cut off the piece that it's not going to be in the egg. So go quite a lot higher.
I'm using my set square to make these 90-degree angles, and now I'm going to use my proper ruler, my long ruler, to extend the line. Now I'm going to make it nice and heavy so that you can see it. Although, when I was doing it earlier, I made it light so that it's easier to rub out afterwards. Okay, next. Well, might do this one.
Now the next thing is to just to mark the top point on the circle, which is H, Caroline. That's where the circle cuts that vertical line you've just done. H, that is. Yes, it's labeled H on the diagram. Can you put a dot there, Caroline, so we can see it? Right. Now, from A, draw a line from A through H and making it a
Okay, I
bit
don't have
longer.
I don't have A yet, so I've got to mark A, B,
And B.
J, and H.
Right. Now
And
go
now,
from, draw lines through A and H and make it go a bit longer.
now I'm going to do this with a proper heavy pen because I can't, this line is going to be used fully. So I'm going to use my heavy pen for this one so you can see it. Because the excess is going to be cut off.
And go through B and H as well. Excellent. Now you need your compasses again at 6 centimeters, 60 millimeters. Center A and draw an arc that goes through B, and
Is it 60 or 120 now?
It's 60. Oh, Caroline, you're right. It's 120. You're right.
It's a good thing I did it before. Because if I hadn't done it
Right.
before, I wouldn't know that.
Through B.
Yep.
And
Okay,
up
what I
to hit that line.
That's all I have to do is that. That's all I need to actually do. Is find that cross section. Is that is
no,
correct?
no, you you have to draw the edge.
Use that line. Oh, that's how we got the eggs. I didn't do that before.
That's the edge. Now you can do your freehand drawing on from B and the same.
Right. Now I know how you got that lovely edge. Oh my goodness, I didn't do that before. Look at that beautiful egg that's coming out.
Yes, you can imagine it now. Okay, so right, lovely, lovely, lovely. Right.
All right. Hey, progress is being made.
Now, okay. Caroline, you want to set your compasses to 35 millimeters or 3.5 centimeters.
I'm doing it at silly, funny numbers, and let me do it starting from 10. Because it's not easy to set the ruler the other way. 35 or 3.5 centimeters.
Now then, you want to, yes, so you need to take H at the top and draw a circle there, and a circle there, okay?
A whole circle. Do I need the whole circle?
Actually, you don't. You just need that top edge that's the flatter top of the egg. That's all you need.
I'm ahead of myself here.
No, it's not there. What you have to do now is to put your pencil on J and your sharp point 3.5 centimeters up, and then draw that circle which is tangent to the bigger circle at J. You draw it lightly because you only want those 2 points there, which are marked F and G on the. And
what I can do as well is mark that point like that.
Well, you don't. Yes, you need that point. You need the point E as well, which is 3.5.
No, it's not. It's this one. Sorry, it's 3.5 from there. It's not that one. It's this lower one. That's the one I want. So I'm going to. I did that. Yeah, this is the one I want.
It's JE is 3.5 centimeters. JE is 3.5 centimeters.
Are you absolutely certain about that? That's not what I did on the other one.
Absolutely certain.
Oh dear, 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 dear. JE. So okay, so
E is the center of that circle.
I did this wrong then. So this is not an equal. Those aren't equilateral triangles. That's too big.
JE, E is the center of that circle. EF, EG, and so EJ.
It's this one here.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. So
now then,
this is the reason. This is the reason why this first line had to be pencil, because this line, this triangle here is not, I don't know if this feels, anyway. So that's,
No.
I did that wrong earlier.
Now, EJ, you need to do that one, Caroline. That's one of the lines you're going to cut, EJ. No, yes, that's right. I go up to the top.
But not here. And I'm going to rub that one out. This is
no, you are going, no, you do need that. So you also
Toni,
need...
this line here is a whole triangle. This is going to be rubbed out.
Yes, it is. You're right.
Okay, so what else do I need?
You finished.
I finished. I have finished. And here's one I made earlier. That is wrong. And look how bad that freehand is. And doing those much bigger circles made a much better job of it. And after the break, we're going to see what it looks like. I'm going to make some magic, and we're going to have a wonderful coloured egg to do some puzzles with. See you after the break. Okay, that was interesting.
Caroline, can you see my screen?
With a gun. I can see. I can see. You are. Oh yes, I haven't put it up yet, Toni. Shall I just show the final result with all cut up, with the egg all cut up, even though it's actually wrong?
Shall we come back to that a little later, Caroline?
Oh, sure. Right. I won't reveal then. I won't reveal. Hold on. Let me change my camera. Let me put yours on. Let me put yours on.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So let's just quickly recap on that so you're happy about what you do. You draw the semicircle, which goes from A to B, and AB is the diameter. Then you extend the line from A. You draw up the vertical line, and you draw the lines AHD and BHC. But you haven't found those points C and D, so you actually go through those points. And then you draw the circle center A, or it's just an arc actually, not the whole circle, although it doesn't matter if you draw the circle. And its radius 120 millimeters, and that finds D and the edge BD, which is the side of the egg. And similarly, you've got AC, which is the other side of the egg. And then you draw the arc CD at the top as part of the circle, center H, radius 35 millimeters. And then mark E so that JE is 35 millimeters, and draw the circle center E to find the points F and G, so you can get the smaller triangle FEG there. And finally, you cut out the 9 pieces in the colored diagram, which makes 4 green pieces when you cut up the middle. You've got 1 red triangle, as Caroline pointed out. You've got the 2 blue pieces on the side, which, as we see them in the picture, look more or less like wings. And you've got the yellow and orange pieces, which are the same shape as each other. That is, we're going to come back to Caroline, and she's going to make some of these puzzles with the pieces. But we just want to talk a little bit about AIMSEC first. AIMSEC is a project. It's a charity in South Africa, which I set up 18 years ago. And I've been really sad about the poverty in South Africa, which is just as bad now as it was during apartheid, and just as bad now as it was 18 years ago. And what you see near the top, just right of centre, is where I live in South Africa. Can you see that street? And it's got I'm sure it's rather a smelly waterway through the street there, with things floating in the water. And I'm absolutely serious. That is part of Fishhook, where I live. I don't actually live in that street. I live in a rather desirable neighborhood, actually, right on the beach. But within walking distance of where I live in Fishhook, there's an area called Masapumalele, which you see in that picture. And it's a sort of historically from the time of apartheid, non-white people were told they couldn't live in the white areas, and there were areas for them set up in the swampy land. And the reason why you've got that water in that picture, in that village street, is it's a very swampy piece of land, and so their houses are quite often flooded, and they're sort of paddling around in water. So we get flooding in this country, but
it's like Bangladesh in monsoon season, Tony.
Absolutely. And the Cape Flats area, which is another area near where we are in Fishhook, that is again swampy land. It's called Cape Flats. Some of it's very pretty, and some of it, as you know, in its natural state. But other land where people have built houses is absolutely not the best place to live. So what AIMSEC does is, following Mandela's very wise saying there, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And so one little person like me and my friends can't do much about that poverty. But what we can do is to help the teachers, to empower the teachers, to give the children a better education, so that those children, when they grow up, are more likely to get a job which is reasonably well paid, and they can perhaps do something for their own community, the communities that they grew up in. And what you see in the picture there, you see some pictures of classrooms. There's one at the bottom, there's a picture of Nelson Mandela reading with some children there. But just on one side of him, there's a huge class, and that really is a class with over 100 students. And you'll see right at the top right-hand corner another big class. I don't know how big, but it looks like a lot of youngsters in that class. It's a typical class size is 60 or more, and it's tough for the teachers to manage classes that size, and for the children to get the attention they need. So you've got children in there. A little one there, I think she's crying. She's got a blue handkerchief in the bottom corner there. With she's at school though. She's at a school not in South Africa but in Uganda that we visited, which was set up for the children whose families couldn't afford to send them to school. So that's another school set up by a charity. And on the left, you've got some teachers at one of our workshops. And on the top, the left-hand corner, you see my friend Julia and some teachers at one of our teachers' workshops. So what AIMSEC has tried to do is to run professional development, to do teacher training, so that the teachers are empowered to give the children a better education. So we have a project where you can, if you benefit from everything that AIMSEC has to offer and want to help me and my wonderful friends like Julia in the picture there, and who help to train the teachers in South Africa, and we've also worked in Uganda. It's the Caroline will put this in the chat line. It's GoFundMe. And
it's in the description, Tony, and it's also on the ticker tape under the images. It's in the description. All they have to do is go down to the description. It's in there.
And it's if you only give €1 or £1 or $1, you know, it's great. It's wonderful, and thank you, because those small amounts add up, and in the end, it's significant. And although most of the people working for AIMSEC do so without pay as volunteers, we do have to have a small team. We've only got 6 people, and that's only 5 1/4 full-time equivalent in South Africa, who keep this going, the wonderful team in South Africa. And the rest of us work for nothing, but we do need a little bit of funding to make it possible. We've thousands of teachers who we've worked with, and we provide free resources for them, which they can download from the internet, and lots of ideas for making mathematical toys and equipment and resources out of junk. So I'm going to stop sharing and hand over to Caroline now.
And I'm going to turn back to my camera. We're going to see what we're going to make. Let me see what we're going to make with this. I've been frantically remaking a piece because it disappeared, so I managed to remake it quickly. And so what should we make? Oh my goodness, Toni. Let me see. Are you able to show me an image? Can you hold one up in front of you? Oh, I can see that. Oh, how's that work? Oh, I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to put a foot here.
Caroline, can you see? Hello. I don't know whether you can see the PowerPoint. Can you?
No, that's gone. I'm looking at the front page of the resource. So now I'm going to put a tail here. Whoa, other way around though. So maybe we'll put this one here, like so.
Caroline, can you put your camera a little bit higher or further away so we can see the whole thing? Okay. Caroline's making a bird. I think you're making your own creation, aren't you, Caroline?
No, I'm actually making one that I'm looking at.
Oh, right. Okay.
I don't know if I'm doing it the best way, but oh yes, I see how that works. But it's interesting because I have to turn that around, so the colours are actually the other way around. I think if I do that, I don't know where this goes. I'm not using this bit. Yeah, that's not going in.
Of course, those blue pieces are not symmetrical. So if you turn them over, yes. I mean, you could have two. Yes. Okay, you could have two like that. I don't know whether any of the birds, but that gives you a little bit more variety, doesn't it?
Oh, look! I'm going to make a bird, one of the crested bird. And there's the beak, and it's going to go a bit like that. And I don't know what I'm going to do with these. It's got a very, very peculiar neck. I don't think
It needs a bit more body. Its head is floating in the air at the moment.
That's
a very convincing neck. I like that.
Okay, well there you go. I've got a piece missing though. I can put that there. There you go. I can put that there. There you go. I've used them all.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, he's got a big head.
And also, that's a curve there. So it's not a flat surface against a flat surface. So I wonder if I can actually maybe do that and put the beak. Oh, what about if I put the beak like that? How
Oh,
about that?
I like yeah. Oh, Caroline,
Oh, now I've got
he's a
matching.
very handsome. That's quite a convincing bird, Caroline. Very handsome indeed.
Better,
well
that's
done.
better. I'm happier with that. Maybe actually put that up a little bit like that to give it a bit of flair.
Well, excellent, Caroline. Okay, well, happy Easter, everybody. It's 6 o'clock.
See you
The
next
Easter
week.
holiday is nearly over.
Yes. Well, I suppose I could turn that off. See you next week for the next episode of Happy Maths Hour. Thank you for joining us.
It's going to be frieze patterns next week.
Frieze patterns.
Those decorative strips. Yes.
We attempted it last week and it failed, didn't it? So we never give up. If at first you don't succeed, do it again.
Yes, yes. Frieze patterns next week. Bye-bye, everyone.
At 5 o'clock on Friday, London time. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Friday? It's Monday.
Oh, Monday. Monday! Monday!